All right, welcome back for our second of three feature matches tonight. We're going to have Emmett here, who I'm watching from his point of view, against Adam S. Looks like they're just waiting to load up the match. They're about to start. So, a little about the players. Both of them, they're doing quite well. They're both at 12 wins. Adam is at 12 and 5, so he's currently in the top 8. Emmett's at 12 and 7, just out of the top 8. But if he wins, he'll be passing Adam here because they both have the same amount of wins. Looks like Emmett's got a black-red deck here. Lots of good cards in his hand. What's Adam's hand look like over there?
He is playing a domain deck.
Okay. Yeah, so what we sort of seen is the players who have opened just Dominaria end up basically just playing the domain deck because that's what there's the most of in that set. And almost everybody who's gone out of set is like playing two or three colors for the most part. A lot of people two colors. So Evan has a pretty pretty proactive hand here with we see obviously just two premium creatures, Evolved Sleeper and Knight of Dusk's Shadow, I think. Yeah, Dusk Shadow. And his other cards in hand are Play with Fire, Moonrager Slash, Hero's Downfall, and then I guess it could be a splash, but the Llanowar Loam Speaker, which is the green 2-drop. So I guess he's playing
He
Jund, but
when
he's
when I
going to be able
played
to
when I
cast most
played
of his things.
when I played him, he also had white mana.
Okay, so maybe
So
he's
it's
doing more than maybe he's black red base, and then maybe messing around with green or other colors. Well, we see green for sure in his hand. Um, so Adam's just gonna play his Leyline Binding here. Um, so what else does he have in hand to
he
play
could
over
have
the next few
opted to
turns?
play the Hydromancer this turn, which does trade with the Evolved Sleeper.
Right.
But other than that, he has a Sunlit Marsh, which is the white black land, two blue cards which he cannot play, and Sojourner and Broken Wings on top of the Hydromancer.
Okay, so Yavimaya Sojourner is still going to cost him 5 unless he finds a land,
Correct.
an appropriate land here.
So he's on Abzan colors. He can only cast Hydromancer unless he wants to Broken Wings his only line
Yeah,
binding.
so this Hydromancer is likely to get burned at some point, but he doesn't need to right now because he has a menace creature. He's just on Famished Foragers, which is a good little card here. It's going to give him some mana here, which he could
I
use
love
to discard his green card and draw a
I
card.
love
And
these.
now, of course he discarded his green card and drew a forest, but it was still the correct move.
I love Famished Foragers. Any creature that gives you mana when it comes to play, like potentially makes you go ahead,
Yeah,
especially when you're
we
an
don't we
aggressive
don't see
deck.
that effect very often. The last time we saw that, I think before that was way back Cons of Tarkir. There was a 4 mana 3/3 that as long as you attacked that turn, you got Mardu mana, which you could use to play a morph often. So play with fire is going to target this. I assume Adam's just sitting with a bunch of uncastables. Is that what we're looking at for the most part?
Well, he really needs to draw either a blue or red source or just a untapped land to play his 4/6.
Yeah, any untapped land gets him a 4/6, which Emmett might. I mean, he has a hero's downfall, but not the second black. He has double Moonrager Slash in hand, so he's gone hard into
Oh,
mostly Midnight Hunt here. He has some Crimson Vow cards, but
so Adam's just basically dead.
yeah, because he's got the Moonrager Slash. He's got two Moonrager Slashes, so this a very assertive start here. That Famished Foragers coming down and getting some value. And Adam just not being able to cast enough spells here is gonna get him dead.
Yeah, basically just showing off,
Yeah,
the weakness of domain.
he doesn't even have to show him the second Moonrager slash because he can slash him for one and then attack with both, or
Yep.
yeah, slash him and then attack with both. So yeah, doesn't have to show him the second one. And
Yeah.
a very assertive deck. I mean, it looks like he's splashing around for green, but the base of his deck is black red, and he was able to cast two premium creatures right away, and then have the removal he needs. So looking at his deck, he does actually have quite a few more green cards than it first appeared. Tovalar's Huntmaster, Storm the Festival, which costs triple green, Mossbeard Ancient, uh, double eccentric farmer, and like a host of other green cards actually. So it's a lot more green than it looked there. But the base of his early game is black red. So as long as he draws his black red lands early, he'll be able to cast whatever he needs to cast. So we didn't see the green half of his deck there, but it's there. You know, and
Okay, so
yeah,
Adam's deck is actually just purely Bant.
okay,
All the cards just require Bant colors to cast, and some of the cards have kicker of the other two.
okay.
But yeah, so it's just primarily Bant. He just didn't get his blue mana, which made it so he couldn't cast all his spells.
Yeah, I mean
And
most of the domain decks are not going to be straight 4 or 5 colors. They're going to be 2 to 3 colors with splashing whatever you need to, kicker costs and good gold cards or whatever. So it makes sense.
yeah, so basically that's what happens in domain. Sometimes you just end up getting the wrong lands, make it so you can't actually cast your spells, or either you get like to a slow start. Like we saw that in like the round one of today, where like uh Chris almost got punished for a slow start because he just almost died to a 2 drop
Yeah. So
like almost the entire time.
yeah. So Emmett's found some really good cards in these Innistrad sets like Double Moonrager Slash, Tovalar's Huntmaster, Morbid Opportunist, which was basically performed like a rare, if you remember that
Yep.
one. Jadar, the Ghoul Caller of Nephalia. So quite a few good cards here. See what he's looking at in the sideboard. Not too much here.
I'm looking at the looking to change the mana base. It seems.
Yeah, interesting. He has a Dormant Grove, which to me was a premium card, if I recall, from Crimson Vow. The enchantment where you could put a counter every turn, and then once you have a 6 toughness creature, you get a big beefy vigilance creature on the backside.
Yeah, kind of plays like the fight rigging from
Yeah, very similar
Arcana.
actually.
Yeah, it's like basically once the thing's big enough, you eventually just get a payoff for it. I mean, you no longer have the counter portion, but 6. It's a 3/6 that gives everything vigilance. It's gonna do something when it
Yeah, that
flips.
card was a premium uncommon, so maybe he feels his deck's strong enough without it. But that's one I would be looking at in general. He's just looking surveying his options here, but hasn't swapped anything out yet. Yeah. So one thing he's a bit low on removal, I would say. He has no well he has Play with Fire, Eaten Alive, Defenestrate, 2 Moonrager Slash, Hero's Downfall. Like actually a lot of players we see here, he's just not playing these 5 mana red deal 5 damage or whatever they are spells. Just not that interested
I
in those.
I think the time of that card
Yeah.
in in league is just over. It's usually only played in the first like 2 3 weeks, just because you need to remove things. But now as league gets decks get better and better, like being very inefficient at killing something is bad.
Yeah, so Emmett has a very reactive hand here. He's looking at Defenestrate, Moonrager Slash, Tovalar's Huntmaster, and the rest are lands of various of all 3 colors.
I mean, that's a solid game plan. Just stay alive until you play your insane bomb.
Yeah,
That's
and so it looked like Adam was taking a mulligan there.
yes, he had 6 lines in artillery blast, and now he has 4 lines with a Phyrexian Espionage and a borrowed time. Notably, he has no white, which is one of his main colors.
Okay, so they're just going to be doing a whole lot of nothing here for a little while.
I mean, I think that
Okay,
mostly
there's a
benefits
Gardener.
Emmett.
Okay, there's a Jadar, the Ghoul Caller off the top here. Makes a 2/2 with Decayed, as long as you don't have one already. So that can put on some pressure here, actually, considering Adam just not having too much. That may draw removal.
If Emmett sees that Adam is off white, maybe there's a chance he actually just kills the Gardener here. But
Yeah, I don't know if he
yeah,
knows that the exact texture of Adam's deck, right? We didn't see
yeah,
enough to know exactly what his base colors are and what his what colors he needs the most. We didn't really see
yeah.
enough.
I guess that's the thing about Domain. You don't exactly know what the main colors are if the game ends really fast.
Yeah, he's just gonna kick the espionage here. Uh, Emmett can pretty happily discard a crawl from the cellar here, actually, with
Oh yes,
flashback.
what a nice card that was back in its set.
Oh yeah, that card was one of the better common versions of returning creatures from the graveyard to your hand. Yeah, so he's going to attack here. He unfortunately does not have another play. In 2 turns, he will be able to cast his Huntmaster, but sounds like it's going to hit a borrowed time.
Yeah, it's gonna get borrowed, timed, or leyline binding.
Okay, so the Huntmaster, it'll leave behind the two wolves though.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Adam. Milling 3 cards, but didn't hit a
But
land,
no
which is what
lands,
you want
yeah.
with the farmer. He did
Yeah.
find his white source, but it is a tap land.
So interesting that Adam has opened other sets, but is still like firmly a domain deck. So interesting.
I think going for like the powerful cards of other sets, kind of gives something that his deck would have that a purely Dominaria deck would not.
Yeah, there's been some interesting debates on Midnight Hunt versus Crimson Vow. Midnight Hunt sort of having maybe stronger cards overall at common and uncommon, and Crimson Vow just having some of the dumbest rares that we've seen in limited in recent memory, and a huge amount of them, like you're like 20 to 30 like complete bomb rares.
I mean,
So
it also just depends on really what you want, right? Like Crimson Vow still has like some decently good powerful commons. If
yep,
you're red, you probably go there instead because red was not that good in Midnight Hunt. But if you're like me, who's looking for like good white, Midnight Hunt had better white than it did in Crimson Vow,
yeah,
and especially depending on the archetype, depending on what you want exactly.
yeah. I think if you're happy with your power level already, and you just need like to maybe boost up your foundation, or so your early game, or just just get a little bit stronger overall, you could go to Midnight Hunt. But if you're just looking for like an injection of just raw power cards, then yeah, often you'll want to go to Crimson Vow. And we also see people have been going to Capenna as well, and Kamigawa. So there's no set that's been like off limits or really considered completely undesirable. Here's the Huntmaster. As we know, it is gonna get killed here, but it is gonna leave behind two tutus. And then Emmett does have a follow up next turn with the Death Bonnet Sprout. Yeah, and so this exile is particularly good, particularly with the with the Crawl from the Cellar being known here. It's not sending it to the graveyard. So Adam has a Leyline Binding, and what else?
He has just a line binding and 2 lands, so he needs to find a creature to defend himself against these the wolves, and now the Death Bonnet Sprout.
Yeah, the Death Bonnet Sprout, once it flips, is probably good enough to spend removal on.
Oh, also to note, Dominaria itself doesn't actually have any graveyard hate, which is
Really?
kind of what helps the domain decks outvalue people, not with only the card draw, but to get back their super powerful creatures with their Urborg possession. If you go to other sets, there is some graveyard hate there, especially in Innistrad.
Yeah,
Innistrad being
Midnight
able
Hunt had a
to,
lot. Crimson Vow had some, not as much as Midnight Hunt. Like I know I have in my deck, I have 2 copies of the Diagraph Scavenger, which is that bear, the black bear that can exile something from the graveyard. And
yeah,
that's been kind of good. Like, um, you know, kill their bomb and then like immediately next turn exile to make sure they don't repossess it back. Because anybody that has black mana in their deck is running Urborg repossessions if they have them. So
yeah. So being able to get rid of like their very powerful cards permanently is just very not present in Dominaria.
yeah,
Like unless
I've yet to see a Diagraph Horde be cast in this league, but I assume that would be very good too.
it's definitely on my hit list of commons that I want to see in my packs.
Yeah, so here's Jadar coming back here, just putting more things on the board. This is going to end the game quickly. One removal will not deal with all of this. Adam might feel strongly enough to leyline binding the Jadar, but he's on a 3 turn clock here.
Alternatively, I've never seen O-rings be this good in a format. Like just the Citizens Arrest. It's performing a lot better. Like so much so that enchantment removal, which is only exclusively in white, is always played because it
Well,
kills those Citizens Arrests. It kills
well,
all those big fatties.
the clock's been doubled here, so
And the line has been drawn, so the
yeah,
game is so the game will be.
yeah. So we just see the flood here, just being no good. And Emmett had a bit of a slow start, but way too many lands from Adam. Adam only really played one threat, which was the Tolarian Terror, which got killed right away. So congratulations to Emmett on that victory, which catapults him up to 13 wins, which is currently in the top 8. So congratulations to him once again, and we'll be back for our last feature match later.